Hello. Power standard number 7. Characters, conflict, and motivation. So this power standard is focusing on the following standard skill. How you analyze complex characters, which are those with multiple or conflicting motivations, how those characters develop over the course of a text, how they interact with other characters, and how they advance the plot or develop the theme. In other words, by the end of this power standard, you're going to be able to break down how characters change throughout the story, how characters interact with each other, and how characters affect the plot or the theme. So the essential skills and concepts. First, we're going to understand the basic character traits, recognize good and bad. Then we're going to be able to learn how to identify multiple or conflicting character motivations. We're going to analyze a character's intentions, aka goals. We're going to review plot development, those stages of plot. We're going to look at how dialogue between characters in a text helps advance the story. And then we're going to see how characters help develop or build a theme. So, what makes a character complex? So just like us, characters battle the big six in life. They battle emotions, beliefs, fears, concerns, thoughts, and most importantly, motive. Intrinsic, which is internal, or extrinsic, which is external, which is the reason behind a character's specific action. That's the definition of motive. Now, a complex character is any character in a story that has multiple motivations, emotions, beliefs, fears, etc. A complex character is complicated, and a complex character typically can't be easily described. Typically, heroes are complex characters. Now, of course, we're going to get to the main character types, the protagonist and the antagonist. So, now, when you look at any story or any movie, you're going to have 4 major character types. You're going to have dynamic characters, static characters, flat, and round characters. Your dynamic and your round characters, they are layered. A dynamic character, you're going to see change throughout the course of a story, while a round character is full of layers. They're contradictory or conflicted, like Shrek. A dynamic character changes as the course of the story goes on, like Katniss Everdeen or Captain America. A static character is going to stay the same throughout the story. If they're mean at the beginning, they're going to be mean at the end. And a flat character really is not that deep. Now, let's get back to protagonist and antagonist. Now, you've learned throughout your course of your education that a protagonist is usually the main character. They're the good guy. However, and typically a protagonist always has a problem he or she may face. You've been taught that the protagonist is typically the good guy, but sometimes it's not always the good guy. The protagonist in a story tends to be relatable to the reader and invoke empathy within the reader. For example, The Dark Knight. Batman, aka Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight series, is not always the good guy, but he is the main character, and he is relatable and invokes the most empathy from us, the viewer, aka the reader. Next, antagonist. Remember, antagonist is supposed to make life hard for the protagonist. The antagonist's goal is to stop the protagonist from solving the problem that they face. So, the protagonist is not always the villain. Remember, the antagonist's job is to make life hard for the protagonist. So an antagonist can be a person, place, thing, or even an idea. You're really going to see that if you go to watch Captain America Civil War. You're going to realize that the antagonist this time is not an actual person. It's an ideal. So let's practice. In the following sentence, what are Rachel's conflicting motivations? So the first thing we notice is that she pauses on the edge of the stage. So we already know that she's not moving forward, so she's stopping to think about something. Then her eyes meet with her boyfriend's, and she was happy. So clearly this boyfriend is somebody that she loves, and something that has happened to him has caused her to be happy. We further learn he found a good job in their small town for after graduation and an apartment for the after they could afford. So she's happy for the good things that are happening for her boyfriend. Then we see this word right here, but. So now we know there's going to be a shift in her thinking, but the director's voice pounded in her head. So then we see another key word, pounded. So clearly whatever this director told her is resonating loudly because it's pounding. And when you pound something, it's forceful and it's loud. You could be a star if you ever get out this dead-end bird. So as we can see, Rachel has two conflicting motivations. One, we clearly know she's an actress. And her director is telling her she can be a star, but she has to leave this small town. But her boyfriend just found a great job in that same dead-end burg and an apartment that they could afford. So, what are Rachel's conflicting opinions? If you answered C, you are on the right track.